right. Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm trying to start this thing finally, but it didn't work. I got so mad. I almost screamed at ChatGPT, but I decided to just leave it. Hello everyone. I wanted to explain you how I write a piece of music because obviously there are so many instruments layered, and not only you cannot hear every single instrument, but I'm sure some of you are interested in the process how I write a piece from scratch. So, okay, let's just dive right in. First of all, obviously, I have to create a melody. Let me show you this melody that I wrote here. Alright, how do I write a melody like this? So first of all, it should be a Chinese piece. So I have a restriction with notes that I can use. I can only use the pentatonic scale. So basically I have 5 notes that I can use. Of course, the entire piece also consists of other notes other than those 5 notes that I chose for the pentatonic scale. But more or less, especially the melodies, are based on this pentatonic scale. Let's say I'm in A flat major. But now my melody here is in minor, so I'm in the parallel minor key, which is F minor. Alright, okay, and then I just try out. What I also realized in Chinese music is that it's not as straight as Western music. What I mean by that is that, for example, when it's going up, it's not going up in a straight line. It's actually going back a bit and then moving forward. So when I go up, I don't go to the F, an octave higher directly, but I actually try to shift down a little bit. I go down, and then I only go up. And this is how I did everything. Whenever I decided to go upwards or downwards, I tried to to modify the melody a little bit so that it makes like a circle. Classical Chinese dance, for example, as opposed to ballet. There, the movements are, in my understanding, very straight. All the lines are straight, and whenever they go somewhere with their hands or with their body, they go there straightly. But in classical Chinese dance, whenever they go somewhere, for example, they make a hand movement, they don't move their hand directly, but actually they make a curve and then they go. And everything is kind of curved. So this is very similar to music, in my opinion. This is how I understood it. Alright, so after trying out a little bit, this is how the melody started. Okay, then I have 8 bars of this melody, and then what I decided to do is just repeat it in the strings section. So let me show you how it sounds in the strings. Okay, so it's kind of like the repetition of the melody, just in a stronger version with all the strings combined. Maybe you could hear that now the melody was a bit simpler, because of course the repetition can be modified a little bit. It can be louder or it can be quieter, and the melody can also vary a little bit. Actually, it's even better if you vary it a little bit in the sound, but also the melody itself. You can maybe add in a little bit of like a trill or whatever comes to your mind, whatever fits the melody. So what I did here is leave it simple. Let's start from the beginning again, and I will play everything. And let's see what I did as an accompaniment. So here you can see I added short strings. What are they here for? So you can hear it's a bit rhythmic. The strings, the short strings make it rhythmic and lively, and they just make the music flow forward. And this is how it sounds when the strings play the melody. So that's that. And then I decided to make a new melody. So let's call the first 16 bars that we just heard theme number 1. Now we have a new melody. This is like a transition line. And maybe you can hear that this time it's not only erhu or only the strings, but actually everything together, erhu and strings. Okay, there we are. And now I'm introducing a new theme. So we have theme number 1 for 16 bars. Then we have like a transition for 8 bars. And then we have theme number 2 again for 16 bars. And this time I am introducing it with drums, like a drum tremolo, to show, hey, here's kind of like a big point. It's kind of important. I added more drums and I also added more strings, this time string pizzicato, and it sounds even fuller this time. I can show you how it sounds. You might have heard that there's even one more instrument, which is the guitar. It makes it sound even richer. Why? Because I have this rhythmical pattern again, and this rhythmical pattern in the strings gets enhanced this way. What I'm gonna do now is show you the guitar together with just the string accompaniment. So as you can hear, it's pretty rhythmical this way. And then the theme, the melody, sounds much more interesting this way. Because let me show you how this would sound only with the theme, just the melody itself. So you can hear the accompaniment actually determines the character of the piece almost. Of course, the melody is the main thing and this is what we hear the most. But we could even modify this whole section to a much more dramatic piece if I just change the accompaniment to a less rhythmical pattern. So just keep in the mind, if you think, okay, the melody's nice, but it doesn't really sound, really engaging, just try to add something in the background as an accompaniment. It doesn't need to be strings. Maybe sometimes drums are enough, and then it becomes much more richer. All right, so that's that. And then I'm gonna show you the drum section. I think that is pretty interesting because drums, as I said, is also kind of accompaniment, make it very rhythmical and very lively and just are a very substantial part of film music. Okay, so what did I do to make this section sound even richer? All right, we don't hear them. I don't know why. Let's try again. Still don't hear them. Haha. Oh, finally. Okay. So let me show you the timpanis first. Okay, makes it sound pretty rich and we have a big bass this way. But I wanted more, so I added bass drums. And to make it more rhythmical, I added taikos. And claps in between. Okay, let me show you the whole accompaniment: strings, guitar, and the drums. And so on. And in the very last part, we have the arhu again. I'm gonna solo it and show you the arhu, because there's a big ritardando in the very end. And a diminuendo, and then a crescendo to the end. And that's it. All right, so this was my short introduction to how I write a piece. If you want to hear the whole piece, please just go on my profile, click on the link. It will show you Dungeon World. This is a platform similar to YouTube, and there you can hear all my compositions for free. Thank you! Woo-hoo-hoo.